A very good evening. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive with me, Kristween Walia. First up, we begin NSE additional stocks also under short-term surveillance. In a bid to assuage fears, SBI Chairman Dinesh Khara has said that the bank does not envisage any challenge Adani Group to meet debt obligations. Also added that no lending against shares to the conglomerate. Shares of Adani Enterprises are set to be removed from S&P Dow Jones Sustainability Indices from 7 February. Ratings agency Fitch has said that it saw no immediate impact on the ratings of Adani Group entities and their securities. Moody's has also said that it is assessing financial flexibility of Adani Group rated entities in the aftermath of the short seller report. French firm Total Energies, which has stakes in two Adani Group's listed firms, has said that it has not reevaluated its holdings. The Adani stock crash row has now reached the Supreme Court. A plea has been filed in the top court seeking probe against the short sellers. Both houses of parliament were adjourned amid ruckus by the opposition leaders alleging that the government has forced financial institutions to invest public money in Adani stocks. The Congress party has alleged that the BJP is shielding Adani and that the government has decided to loot the country. On the other hand, the BJP has said there is no merit in the demands made by the joint Parliamentary Committee probe by the opposition and that they're staging drama to malign the budget. Supreme Court has issued notice to Centre and Twitter along with Google on pleas challenging the ban on the BBC documentary and also blocking of tweets carrying the links to the documentary series. The Apex Court has asked Centre to produce original records pertaining to the ban. The court will next hear the matter in the month of April. ED's new charge sheet has hinted at Sisodia's role in destruction of evidence, and according to the charge sheet, SIMs and phones were purchased in Benami names and well-thought-out plans were made to destroy the evidence. Congress MP and wife of former Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh Praneeth Kaur has been suspended from the party for alleged anti-party activities. The Assam government has begun the war against child marriage already, with several being arrested by the police on the 3rd of February, that's today, under POCSO and Prevention Against Child Marriage Act. AIDF MLA Rafiqul Islam has welcomed government's crackdown on child marriage, however, has urged the law must not be used for targeting one particular community. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has slammed politics over the renaming of Islam Nagar, calling the move historic. People from all over the country have thronged to Ayodhya to catch a glimpse of Ram and Janki Silas, which arrived from Nepal yesterday. Supreme Court has expelled 3 members of AIDMK, including OP Giri SP Saroj Kumar was seen kicking one of the people detained by the police for involvement in the Hosur violence. DMK MLAs were seen wearing uniforms and ID cards to the State Assembly as a mark of protest against the Puducherry government for not providing uniforms, laptops and books to school-going students. Union Minister Anurag Thakur has hailed G20 presidency for India, saying it is a matter of great pride for the country. Also further added that more than 200 meetings of G20 will be held in 55 different cities. As per a survey, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has topped the list of most popular world leaders, leaving behind others like Joe Biden and Rishi Sunak with an approval rating of 78%. Centre has assured the Apex Court, saying that the Collegium's recommendation for appointment of 5 judges in Supreme Court will be cleared soon. This after Supreme Court expressed its displeasure over Centre's delay in clearing recommendations. Public anger against Swami Prasad Maurya continues to grow. In the latest, Hindu and Muslim groups have staged a protest in Kashi for insulting Ramcharitmanas. Trouble is mounted for TMC leader Anubrata Mondal in cattle smuggling case. Asansol CBI Court has sent TMC leader to judicial custody for 14 days. Gujarat Dairy Cooperative Amul has announced a hike of up to 3 rupees per litre on fresh milk with immediate effect. Uddhav Sena leader Sanjay Raut has filed defamation case against Union Minister Narayan Rane, accusing Rane of malicious and false remarks on his election as a member of Rajya Sabha in 2004. Meanwhile, 2007 World Cup hero Jogendra Sharma has announced retirement from all forms of cricket. In yet another instance of hatred against the Ahmadiyya Muslims in Pakistan, TLP terrorists have desecrated their places of worship in Karachi. Pentagon has said that it is tracking a Chinese spy balloon flying over the United States. However, it has decided against shooting it down due to safety concerns. Colourful folk activities were held across China to celebrate the Lantern Festival in East China. Cultural Heritage Bench Dragon Parade was also held to mark the occasion. Far-left Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has been removed from the House Foreign Affairs Committee after she made anti-Semitic remarks. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken will meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping during a visit to Beijing next week. Discussions on Russia's war in Ukraine are likely to be on the agenda. Ukraine has deployed reconnaissance drones from positions deep within forest across the border with neighboring Belarus. Australian tennis star Nikki Kyrgios has admitted to assaulting an ex-girlfriend. The 27-year-old's guilty plea came up after his lawyers failed to have the charge dismissed on mental health grounds. Los Angeles police have arrested a man for reportedly issuing violent threats. In fact, cops have found a cache of arms and ammunition in his apartment with several rifles pointed towards a nearby park. Thousands of devotees have gathered at Rio de Janeiro's Aparador Beach to pay their annual homage to the sea goddess. After a long COVID break, artisans are back to crafting elaborate costumes and floats for the famed Biche Mardi Gras in Belgium. Bob Odenkirk was roasted by Harvard students as he received the 2023 Man of the Year honor while donning a pink dress. Days before the Grammys, Academy's Black Music Collective celebrated hip-hop heavyweight Dr. Dre, Missy Elliott and Lil Wayne, along with veteran music executive Sylvia Rowe. And the big story this evening, it's been 7 days since the Hindenburg strike on the Adani Group, sending its stock into a tailspin. But today, Adani stocks have rebounded, reversing the 5-session trading trend. They are trading roughly 3.7% higher now, after they fell as much as 35% earlier in the session, hitting a 52-week low. Now, let's quickly show you the 3 stocks of the Adani and how they managed to stage a recovery today. There are 3 stocks which were placed on the additional surveillance list by the NSE. We quickly take you through the trends just from today. This is the Adani Enterprises. Remember, it's seen a rise of 1.74%. It opened at 1,490 rupees, the day's lowest being 1,017.45, and it closed at 1,592 rupees, which means that there's been a rise of 1.74%, and this after the longest time. If we move on to Adani Ports, it's seen a rise of 8.67%, opened at 459. The lowest it saw was 395.10, and it closed at 502.05. Thirdly is Ambuja Cements. It saw a rise of 5.99%, very significant, opened at 351.95, the lowest being 318.50, and closed at 373.55, and that's why we're saying that there has been a jump more than 3%, that the shares today at least put a rise, and after the longest time, for the first time since the Hindenburg shelling. The finance minister, interestingly, Nirmala Sitharaman, has also broken her silence today itself, assuaging fears of life savings of the common man being wiped out due to the exposure of LIC and SBI to Adani stocks. The finance minister said the LIC and SBI Adani exposure is within permissible limit, that LIC is still sitting on profit despite Adani stock fall. In fact, said that Indian banking system is at a comfortable level. Regulators are very, very stringent about governance, is what was said by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Of course, this reaction coming in after she presented the budget for the year, and very interesting how she's gone on to now reassure the investors with regards to the current crisis that is staring at the Adani Group. Remember, this reversal of Adani stocks' fortunes was partly due to the 2 rating agencies which saw no reason to downgrade the companies given its cash flow and assets. They're solely relying on the cash flow and assets. And if we talk about the Fitch, remember, they have made it very clear that there is no near-term significant offshore bound maturities, reducing the financing risks and liquidity risks. That's what Fitch has been maintaining. So that is one aspect of it, and several such stakeholders also coming on board and speaking of how they're relying on the cash flow and the assets that lie with the group still. Even the SBI chairperson interestingly says there is no need to panic since he doesn't envisage any problem in recovering the debt obligations from Adani Group. However, the rating agency's report didn't dampen the opposition's outrage. They continue to disrupt the parliament even today, demanding a debate and an independent probe by the centre. In the meanwhile, let's quickly talk about the defense that's coming from Hindenburg. And why is it that this is very, very questionable? We did a quick backgrounder into Hindenburg, where it's coming from, how it operates, and this is what we found out. This is what Hindenburg has admitted to. Taken a short position in Adani companies through bonds trading in United States. So this is what is at stake for Hindenburg. Now, compare it to what it implies. What it implies is that short bet makes money if an investment's price falls. That's the modus operandi that Hindenburg as a company resorts to. They are short sellers, and that means that they will earn money if they bet on shares falling in any particular company. And in this case, they've bet this money, they've gone ahead with this bet as far as the Adani Group is concerned. So if Adani continues to fall, Hindenburg is only going to make gains out of it, and that's why that question arises. If we talk about furthermore, if we get into the claims that have so far been made by Hindenburg, Feb 2022 is when US Department of Justice was probing short sellers for trading abuse. Now, this is a United States probe that is still underway. Why this is interesting is because if we talk about the Hindenburg name, USDJ names Hindenburg as a company under probe. So this is the probe that's currently underway. If we talk about a United States-led probe that is still on Hindenburg. If we further go into the details of Hindenburg, they targeted about 30 companies since 2020. So they've gone ahead with the similar modus operandi because this is how they function. They are mostly short sellers. They are, of course, claiming that they do a thorough background check on companies such as Adani, but the fallout is that their stocks fell by 26% in 6 months. We're talking about these particular 30 companies, and given the Hindenburg investigations and the reports thereafter came out on these 30 companies, a significant fall in their shares was witnessed immediately thereafter within 6 months' time. If we talk about the background of the founder, Anderson was an ambulance driver in Israel. That's where he's coming from. And now he says he is the forensic financial research specialist of the company. He's the founder. He's also the financial specialist of the company. And that's exactly why, if we piece all of these things together, question that comes to our mind is whether or not at this juncture, given the sensational claims that have been made by Hindenburg, can all of them be taken at face value? Here's what the opposition parties have been alleging.
Yeah, we also want the parliament to run smoothly. We want a discussion on the Adani scam, which has taken over many people's savings. SBI and LIC has invested in Adani, and there are people, when Adani shares are falling, in that time also their FIO, they had SBI and LIC has pumped the money into the Adanis. Therefore, who has pressurized Adani, SBI and LIC to do that thing? Therefore, only we had given an adjournment motion. Today, I had given an adjournment motion in Lok Sabha. We want to adjourn the House business about other things and discuss about Adani scam.
हंगामा तो होगा. इस विषय पर हंगामा नहीं होगा तो कौन से विषय पर होगा? ये देश लूटने की बात है. LIC हो, स्टेट बैंक हो, ये दोनों जो सार्वजनिक उपक्रम है उसको लूटने की बात है. जनता का पैसा है, गरीबों का पैसा है. बाकी वो कंपनी क्या करती है मुझे मालूम नहीं, लेकिन जब LIC का और स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का विषय आता है तो हम जरूर हंगामा करेंगे.
और क्या लगता है आज पार्लियामेंट चल पाएगी?
देखिए, पार्लियामेंट चलनी चाहिए. हम इस मुद्दे को उठाएंगे, लेकिन हमारी आवाज़ दबाई जाती है.
Allegations against Adani is of serious nature. That should be examined threadbare and appropriate action should be taken. Now and then, it is to come in media that Adani has got the ashirwad of the top brass in the central government. whatsoever law is same for everybody, law should take its own course. If Hindenburg findings are true, it's of serious nature, he should be punished as per law.
And shifting our focus to a breaking news update coming in, and this is with regards to the response that has come in from the J&K Bank. Speaks of how their loans to Adani Group are secure. That's the confirmation coming in from the J&K Bank, saying that the J&K Bank has an exposure of nearly 250 crore rupees in the Adani Group. I quote, our loans to Adani Group are secured against the assets of the projects that were financed by the J&K Bank. So this is what's coming in from the J&K Bank, wherein the bank deputy general says that the bank had given a loan of 400 crore rupees to Adani Group to finance two thermal projects, but their loans to the bank, to the group, to the Adani Group are secure given the assets in hold with them. Let's quickly open this up and touch upon the technical aspects of what is being said, is being alleged, and how much of what is being claimed in the report by Hindenburg can be taken at face value. We have Sumeet Mehta, CEO, Paradigm Corporate Finance Advisors. We also have Basant Maheshwari, investor and author, with us, along with Governance Now MD Kailash Adhikari. I want to first begin by asking Mr. Basant Maheshwari this. On the kind of questions that are today being asked with regards to how safe the public's money, the common man's money is with regards to the exposure that the likes of LIC and SBI face. We just put out details of what J&K Bank has said with regards to its own set of exposure. But the finance minister today has come out and said in as many words that the exposure of, let's say, LIC, SBI is all within permissible limits, sir.
So there are two parts to the question. The first thing is, whether LIC made a smart decision by buying Adani shares, that will be answered only in time. For now, it appears it's smart, but then when you buy such quantities of share, you should have an exit plan also. So that's one part. The second part is the public money safe. I think the public money is pretty much safe. There's a sovereign backing, indirect or direct. I don't think anybody is going to lose his claim or anybody is going to lose his fixed deposit just because LIC has bought Adani shares or just because SBI has lent loans to Adani. SBI shareholders might have a problem. They might go and question the bank as to why did you lend money to a group that was already in so much debt. But from a standpoint of someone who's got a fixed deposit there, the last thing on his mind should be his fixed deposit. And claims, I don't think there's any problem. There's a sovereign backing indirectly for LIC. So the two parts of the thing.
Okay, all right. Stay on with us, Mr. Maheshwari. A quick reaction of the Finance Secretary. We'll quickly play out that as well, requesting my team to place that for us, because, you know, the government has been coming out with all of these assurances, reassurances, and investors' faith is at stake here. And that's why all of these answers is something that's perhaps expected of the government at this point in time as well. Mr. Mehta, would you also want to an extent, give in to the version as has been put out by Hindenburg? Because despite, you know, the legal threat that's been issued by the Adani Group, Hindenburg is very, very firm. They say that, you know, we have factual backing enough to make sure that we don't step back now at this juncture, at this point in time. But the fact remains, here's a firm that makes money. They're making money on this whole modus operandi. If Adani Group loses out on money, it's a direct benefit to Hindenburg. That's how they function.
Exactly. Here we have to take reference to observation made by the District Court of New York, wherein they critically rejected the
research company. It makes money by betting on shares falling. So certainly cannot rule out the fact that there is vested interest at play here. And how seriously must we read into Hindenburg's allegations is of prime importance. Stay on with us. I was talking about the Finance Secretary's response because a lot of politics is also playing out internally here in India over the same. Finance Secretary issuing a statement says that, you know, we're not concerned with the fate of any private firm, that private company shares are subject to market reaction. Let's quickly play out that reaction.
The fate of any particular private sector company is not something which we are, concerned with or in which we take any view. Companies, the fortunes of private sector companies will stand or fall or rise or, decline based on their own fundamentals, market reactions, research reports, regulatory actions. That is a separate thing. Public sector financial institutions, whether it is banks or insurance companies or the public financial system in general, is very robust. And the fate of any one company, whatever be that company or whatever be the gyrations in the fate of a particular share price or something, our entities are very strong. The exposure of public financial institutions to any one company is extremely limited. And there's absolutely no concern from the point of view of financial stability, either for depositors or for policyholders or for anyone holding shares in these institutions.
Must we focus on the fact that perhaps this may also, and that's just a possibility that we're talking about, this may also be in some sense an opportunistic profit-seeking company, because they're just putting out one-sided version, because the more they rely on the one-sided version, the more money the owner of Hindenburg is going to make, he's likely to make. Mr. Adhikari, what do you make of, the series of allegations that have been leveled and also the recovery that we've seen? A 3.7% jump. It's trading roughly 3.7% higher if we talk about the Adani shares as of today. Do you think it's going to go up further, let's say the next few days, and the overall market perspective, if you'd want to throw some light on that, sir?
Whether it goes up or go down, that depends upon the market reaction and how the investors perceive. But today, as you mentioned, that the stocks have risen by 3.7% is nothing but a testimony of the investors' assurance or their faith into the conglomerate. And as you mentioned about the background of Hindenburg, now they're a short-selling company. They make profits if suddenly the share prices of a listed company fall. That's how they make. And in that, naturally, if they bring out a research report, that will have adverse comments. And even the Department of Justice in US has noted Hindenburg as a company which is under investigation. Now, if you see the two targeted events, one was by the BBC documentary a few weeks ago, and now the Hindenburg report on an Indian listed conglomerate having vested interest everywhere. Now, this is somewhere we can see a very targeted attempt on India and India's national economy, which is the fastest growing economy in the world, and that does not go down with the
a deliberate targeted attempt. The bigger picture here is, given the political blame game that we're seeing play out in India, who is it really going to benefit? If a top business leader or anyone who's bringing in wealth to the country suffers, or there's a face loss that is witnessed, is it really going to benefit us? That's the question that needs to be asked. But for now, we'll have to quickly wrap up. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the debate. Taking a short break here.